March 12th, 2018, regular meeting of the Painesville City Board of Education is now called to order. Mrs. Semak, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Costello?
Present.
Ms. Powers Only? Here. Ms. Remington? Present. Mr. Tackett?
Present.
Mr. Webster?
Present.
And if we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1.3 is the adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Remington and Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Are there any questions or is there any discussion? Okay. Mrs. Semak, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mrs. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Only?
Yes. Item number 2.1 is hearing of, or item 2 is hearing of the public on agenda items. Do we have any?
The sheets were already here, there are no signatures on them.
Okay,
Don't know if anyone came in after us. They were here earlier.
okay. So moving on to item 3.1, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 12th, 2018. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? Mrs. Semak, would you call the roll, please?
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Only?
Yes. Item 3.2, approval of the minutes of the board work session from February 27th, 2018. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Any discussion? Mrs. Seaman?
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Only?
Yes. And item 3.3, approval of the minutes of the special meeting from February 27th, 2018. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Mr. Webster, Mr. Tackett? Any discussion? Mrs. Seaman?
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Only?
Yes. Yep.
So tonight, I'm pleased to recognize a couple of our students for their performance in the district spelling bee. For those of you who have been involved in a spelling bee, either as a participant or a parent, you know that it takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of dedication, including time over break, whenever there's a lot of things to be distracted by in order to be successful. Still, having the dedication to put in the work and be prepared. But it takes a lot more than that, too. It takes a great deal of poise. And I'm always very, very impressed to see our young students be able to stand up in really kind of a high-stress, high-pressure environment and really perform well and excel. So we want to honor our district champion and our district runner-up. So I have a couple of certificates to present. First, I'll read the certificate. It reads, in recognition of outstanding effort and excellence in performance as the 2018 District Spelling Bee runner-up, you have brought pride to your school and family as a model of leadership and academic excellence. I'd like to recognize Sophia Martinez. Great job. Congratulations. That's for you.
Sophia, You need to have your mom take your picture, and you need to turn around.
Come on up. Great job. And second, in recognition of outstanding effort and excellence in performance as the 2018 District Spelling Champion, you have brought pride to your school and family as a model of leadership and academic excellence, Melody Jones. Congratulations, good job.
What was your winning word?
Do you remember? I know, she's going through a lot of words.
When you go to county spelling bee,
Oh, they had county already.
yeah, how'd that go?
Yeah, she got 4th place at county.
Wow.
Your first year, fantastic, great outstanding.
Great job, girls, and congratulations.
Yeah.
Our next presentation is our Writer of the Week awards. And Ms. Camper is going to present those.
Good evening. We have 2 writers here this evening, and we're lucky enough to have them both here. So we're going to start with Dana. Dana, will you come down, please? Dana's teacher, who is here tonight, Ms. Jokey, submitted Dana's essay, her informative essay on the impact of slavery, to show her in-depth knowledge of her topic and her ability to cite evidence from multiple sources. So we've asked Dana to read a portion of it. Do you want to do just the first paragraph?
No.
Can I read the first paragraph?
Yeah.
And you'll stand right by me? Okay, is that all right? Okay, we'll do this together. All right. Even though slavery had a negative impact on our nation, many people had a positive impact on changing our nation's history. Harriet Tubman was an abolitionist and a rebellious slave. After she escaped to Philadelphia, she began working on the Underground Railroad to free her family members. Throughout the 1850s, Tubman made 19 separate trips into slave territories because she wanted other slaves to feel the freedom she had. Tubman believed every man and woman were born to be equal based on her belief in God. By the end of the 1850s, Tubman was responsible for freeing 300 slaves. Tubman used her knowledge from working the Underground Railroad to serve as a spy for the Union Army throughout the Civil War. The Civil War broke out due to agricultural states in the South wanting slavery, and the states in the North did not. Even though Harriet Tubman was born a slave, she did not let that stop her from leading hundreds of slaves to freedom. You can read all of Dana's essay on the website. Thank you. And our second reader tonight is Rakora. Come on down. Rakora's teacher, Ms. Hildak, submitted her argumentative essay entitled, it was a task that was called the National Anthem Finals, because it was a critical analysis of performance based on choral technique and vocabulary that we have learned and use on a daily basis. She used these skills to decide which performance was better and was able to confidently defend her choice.
Yeah, just the first 2.
Okay.
If you're okay.
I chose Beyonce to move on to the finals today. It was actually a hard choice for me. The thing I like the most about the Dixie Chicks is that it's simple but still beautiful. The harmonies are so beautiful with their voices, and I think it's very easy to listen to them no matter what they are singing. The reason why I chose Beyonce was really because her voice is so beautiful and smooth. There wasn't any problem with pitchiness or being out of tune, it was just great. Not to mention, her runs were really perfect. Usually, it would sound like too much, but it was just enough, and it was very entertaining to watch. When it came to overall performance, I chose Beyonce. For the second bracket today, I chose Jennifer Hudson. This was an easy choice for me because I don't really like opera music. I can appreciate good singing when I hear it, and she is a really good singer. So I give her the praise she deserves because she definitely is a really amazing singer. Everything about Jennifer Hudson's performance was amazing. Her runs fit her voice and the song perfectly. It sounds effortless when she sings, and I thought it was amazing. I chose Jennifer Hudson as today's second bracket winner.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And Recora's full essay is also available on the site.
And Cora, what's your role in Shrek?
Fiona.
Star.
I'm looking forward to it.
Right.
Okay, item 5.1, our next regular meeting is April 9th, 2018. Item 6.1, Ms. Remington, do you have a legislative?
Oh, do I have
A
a legislative?
15-pager?
Of 15 pages. Not to outdo, Mr. Campbell, but if anyone wants to leave, please feel free.
Yeah, our guests don't have to stay. It doesn't really get any more interesting.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, Dave. And congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Outstanding.
My first piece of legislation is House Bill 258. This is to require the State Board of Education to establish criteria and procedures for awarding of school safety funds to school districts and to make an appropriation. The appropriation shall be distributed to school districts to be used for school safety purposes. You must apply through an application for the funds, and the money that you can receive is based on your enrollment. Starting with $25,000 with a district of 1,000 enrolled students, and it goes up in 25,000 increments, up to $75,000 per year. So the total amount of funds budgeted for this is $34,150,000, and up to $100,000 per year to a district with 10,000 or more enrolled students. So just an interesting, since we're talking so much about school safety these days, something that was brought up. The House of Representatives passed House Bill 87 by a vote of 94-2. And this bill requires that funds that are returned to the state due to a community school enrollment audit are to be credited back to the applicable school districts. The House also passed House Bill 438 by a vote of 96-0. And this legislation deals with the composition of educational service centers and local school districts. And finally, the House passed House Bill 529 by a vote of 92-3, which makes capital appropriations and reappropriations for the biennium ending June 30th, 2020. In the House Government Accountability and Oversight Committee, the committee had its third hearing on House Bill 512. And this bill consolidates the state education agencies and Office of Workforce Transformation into a new agency called the Department of Learning and Achievement. It also transfers much of the duties and authority of the State Board of Education and Superintendent of Public Instruction to the new agency. OSBA, the Buckeye Association of School Administrators, and the Ohio Association of School Business Officials offered opponent testimony to this bill. The committee amended House Bill 508, which would establish the Ohio Corps pilot project for at-risk students to receive scholarships to participate in mentorship programs and attend higher education institutions and technical colleges. Now, this was interesting because in one area it said it was for southeastern Ohio, And in this one, it says it qualifies students who live in the eastern region of the state. So I didn't have time to check that out to see which one it was. But the appropriation was increased to $2.5 million, and it revises eligibility provisions for the program. No one showed up to testify on that bill. The committee also amended House Bill 378, which would create the Ohio Broadband Development Grant Program and allow school districts, among others, to apply for grants under the program. The amendment encourages the Ohio Department of Transportation to work with telecommunications providers to lay fiber optic cable on or near state highways. In the Senate Finance Committee, the Senate Bill 246, the bill deals with positive behavioral intervention, supports and suspensions and expulsion policies for students in grades pre-kindergarten through 3. The committee also heard sponsored testimony on Senate Bill 225, which would create the Ohio Broadband Development Grant Program and allow districts to apply for the grants. Finally, the committee conducted a third hearing on Senate Bill 266, which makes capital appropriations for the biennium in 2020. House Higher Education and Workforce Readiness, House Bill 166. This is in its 7th hearing, and the bill pertains to financial assistance programs for students at Ohio Technical Centers and qualifies such centers for certain state funds. In the Senate Education Committee, House Bill 216 passed after accepting amendments which made several changes, including requiring students to pay half the cost of textbooks under the College Credit Plus program unless their family income is at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines, revisiting the teacher evaluation framework, revisiting educator license grade bands to grades K through 5, 4 through 9, and 7 through 12, and creating temporary educator licenses to teach in early college high schools. They also passed House Bill 98 after accepting amendments. The several changes include providing state funding to school districts with nuclear power plants in their territories that meet specific criteria, revising career technical education teacher licenses, and providing for payment to licensed career technical education teachers who do not have bachelor degrees. Finally, the committee conducted a 6th hearing on Senate Bill 34, which would require public and private schools to open for instruction after Labor Day. This would not affect summer school programs. This also doesn't preclude teachers, employees, or administrators from beginning prior to Labor Day. The Senate Oversight, I'm almost through. Senate Oversight, well, if you wanted a legislative report, the Senate Government Oversight and Reform Committee adopted a substitute version of House Bill 312, which deals with the use of credit cards and debit cards by school districts and other public entities. The amendment makes the following changes. Requires board policy on credit card accounts to include a procedure for submitting itemized receipts. Permits the treasurer's designee to review credit card account transactions. Details but prohibits the superintendent from being the designee. Requires compliance officers to review credit card data twice each year. Eliminates the ability for a credit card to be signed out to authorized users. Eliminates the bill's requirement for authorized users of a credit card to provide an itemized receipt of each charge upon return of the card, and requires an annual report to be filled with the board detailing all rewards received based on the use of the credit card account. So if you get frequent flyer miles, if you get gas perks, whatever, you have to list those. This was interesting too. The committee also heard sponsored testimony on House Bill 338. The bill qualifies licensed chiropractors and medical professionals listed on the National Registry of Certified Medical Examiners to perform an annual physical on school bus drivers. And I think that's it. Any questions?
I actually have a question for Ms. Samak. On the issue of credit cards.
Yep.
Do we have any cards that get rewards or cash back or any of that kind of thing?
So, we do. So the policy is that no one can use their personal card, so no one personally gains from their credit card. So any purchases made on a personal credit card that would earn frequent flyer miles or cash back like that on behalf of the school district is prohibited. They have to use our district credit card for all purchases, so we avoid that. And then our district card gives us cash back. So we used to have American Express, and once a year, I would write to the board saying we got $1,900 back or whatever this year. I'm now with Visa. We have a Visa card now through Chase Bank, and same thing, we get cash back. So no one is benefiting on behalf. We get all the benefits.
I didn't know if you were going to ask them about the wonderful bill designed to create the new kind of school policy commission. Do you have any particular thoughts on that after investigating it as you have?
On the, changing the, let's see,
I forget the number, but.
well, there are just so many. I know, I'm still stuck on the Labor Day, not starting school until after Labor Day. Is that House Bill 98 amendments, that's not the College Credit Plus, this is the state funding to school districts? No,
It's,
grant development program.
Was it early on?
Learning and achievement,
Is it this one?
workforce transformation into the new Department of Learning and Achievement. You know, the interesting thing is that they want to ban the, kind of take out the whole Ohio education organization and kind of make it into their own organization where they can choose who sits on the board and
right, I mean, it's governor appointments.
right, and it's pretty much under their control.
Right.
So we all lose any sense of control that we can. That's why the OSBA and the administrators and, you know, the school business officials, everyone is testifying against it because, again, that's governmental control as opposed to allowing representation from local school districts to sit on this. There was another piece that was interesting where you can choose not to participate in your local, like Auburn Career Center. You can choose to go to a different career center. You have to petition to do that. And if you move over to, I don't know if Ashtabula has one, but let's say we chose to go to Ashtabula, we would have to stay there for 4 years. And we could petition to have representatives to sit on that board that would represent us, but it would have to be businesses or individuals who bring something different to the table than what's already there on the board. So I thought that was interesting. So perhaps it might make the career centers that are in districts a little more welcoming to all the districts, so that certain ones don't leave, if they don't feel they're being serviced well.
Well, thank you for all your time and effort for that.
And then were we going to do anything
Dr. Engelhardt and I talked about that today. We thought we would maybe talk about it at another time.
Okay.
Okay, item 7, the treasurer's consent agenda. Do we have a motion here?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions, any discussion?
Is there nothing we can do to help supplement the deficit that we have with the preschool program?
Oh, we do every year. We transfer money out of the general fund to offset the deficit. So,
But there's no other way we can attach income to,
so they collect fees on
Right.
the families that,
can afford a
Yes,
sliding
right.
scale?
and then, the revenue that we receive from the state to run a preschool gets applied to that. And that's really the only two sources of income that I have for the preschool. And at the end of the year, in June, when I do my June 30th board meeting, we transfer money out of the general fund to zero that out. So in my forecast, I have, over $200,000 allocated to offset that deficit. So,
It would just be nice, since we know how important preschool is
Right.
to overall development, to have some kind of funding that would help us, so we didn't have to take that money out of our general
right.
fund and, to balance that budget. Okay, just wondered.
So the only two items that were on was 7.1, the tax budget that was presented last meeting, went to the county auditor, they approved my tax budget, and so now I have to authorize the tax rates. So that's required before, I think, April 1st, so that I had to go on this board meeting, so I can get that back to the county auditor. And then 7.2 is a very lengthy list of donations that are going to the music department for the spring musical.
So that all goes to local music then?
And it's wonderful to see so much community support like that. And staff support.
Mhm. Are there any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Mrs. Samek, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Ms. Parzoni?
Yes. Item 8, treasurer's non-action items.
8.1 through 8.5 are the financials for the month of February.
Any questions or discussion? No song and dance?
I got nothing.
Pretty cut and dry.
Exactly, real dry, but, right.
Cut as well, yeah.
I think we're neck and neck for, who's got a more interesting topic?
Who has a more interesting? Whoa, I'm really gonna have to find some good ones next time, I'll tell you.
Okay, Dr. Engelhardt, you're up.
Okay. 9.1, we have some disposals, just from routine cleanup. 9.2, we have next year's academic calendar. 9.3, we have another couple of calamity days since last time. And then 9.4 through 9.7 are all proposed purchases under the E-rate program.
We didn't have a motion for this, sorry.
Oh, I so move.
Okay, good.
How's that?
Second.
Jump right in.
Is there any discussion?
All of the furniture and stuff, the chairs, the desks,
The file cabinets, I wanted to.
The filing
what happens to
cabinets,
them?
where is it, where does that go? And can we offer that to any
Nonprofits.
nonprofits? Kathy and I are on the same
Right.
page. Any nonprofits or startup businesses that could,
Right.
you know, I mean, I hate to just see them.
There is specific policy regarding how disposals have to take place. You can't just give it away, at least not first. Maybe you want to, you probably know the details.
Yeah, so, I mean, any kind of arrangement like that, we would have to approve the disposal before we could do
Right.
anything later. Generally, I can say things like filing cabinets, some chairs.
You got bad cord, sorry.
We warehouse as much as we can, but we only have so much room.
Well, yeah, right.
So by the time we're actually disposing of items like that, they're usually not very desirable.
So where has all this been stored? Are these are all items from the old buildings?
Well, so we have some space over transportation where we keep
Okay.
things like this. We also have, we purchased storage space out on, where is that? Just out beyond.
Oh, on North Ridge?
transportation.
Oh, it's not Northbridge, St. Clair maybe?
Go around then past transportation.
Couldn't we do like an upcycle sale and sell stuff for like $5 and $10 or something? I mean, just, you know, I mean, it's a big thing now. It's a huge
We do
thing.
take it from scrap, and we do get something,
Yeah,
so
okay.
they do that, because every once in a while, the custodian will come and bring in a check for scrap.
Okay.
So they do, because I mean, by the time seriously it gets there, nobody wants it.
Okay.
It's bad.
Okay. Just a thought.
I mean, unless you're going for a really, really vintage look.
We're always looking for rough stuff to recycle.
True.
So we've been storing this stuff for 8 or 9 years since the new building's open?
It's possible.
Wow.
It's possible.
Is it fiscally, I don't want to say responsible, but is it worth the money we're spending to keep it?
For storage, well, I mean, we need, the space of transportation is the space, it's our space to use
Yeah,
already.
right,
So,
yeah.
you know, obviously, we have a lot of consumables and garage materials and all those kinds of things that we're using that space for. And then the extra space that happens to be left over, we can use until it's used up. And I'll say the space that we're currently purchasing, it's the same thing. We do have storage needs. We store some summer maintenance equipment in there through the winter and vice versa.
So it's used
So the
for
space is
stuff other
there.
than just useless.
Yeah, right,
materials.
right, yeah.
Any other
I think we could have
discussion?
a contest. Pick 3 things and see who can do the most.
Mrs. Seaman, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Dolly?
Yes. Item 10, personnel. We need a motion here.
So moved.
Second.
So item 10.1 is resignation. 10.2 is change of assignment. 10.3 are leaves. 10.4 stipends. 10.5 extended time. 10.6 tutor list. 10.7 is speech and language pathologist sub list. 10.8 certified substitutes. And 10.9 is supplemental pupil activity.
Again, any discussion?
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Ms. Powers Dolly?
Yes. Item 11, professional visits. We need a motion.
So
Second?
Okay, item 11.1 is professional visits paid out of general fund, and 11.2 are professional visits paid by grant funds.
Any discussion here?
What, could somebody explain what the trauma intermed cure is?
I believe that's supposed to be care.
Oh,
Um,
it was just a little confusing.
Yeah, so our counselors in particular, and our staff more generally have received training in meeting the needs of students who have experienced trauma. Because
Okay.
that results in
Oh, all right.
some behavior and academic needs.
A little confused by the cure part.
Is that intermed in the shortened version of intermediate, or do you know?
That is what I assume that is, yes.
Any other discussion? Mrs. Simmons?
Mr. Webster?
Yes.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Remington?
Yes.
Mr. Tackett?
Yes.
Ms. Powers only?
Yes. Item 12, hearing of the public on non-agenda items. Mr. Costello, you're in the hot seat. Any signatures?
There are none.
Okay. Item 13, good things are happening.
I'd just like to say something about my two favorite places. This year, this week, we had, I believe, the first mentoring of the STORM athletes with high school students. They are going to be mentoring students for the rest of the semester, and they're going to try to be being positive role models and encourage them to do well in their studies, and I think it's a great program, and I'm thrilled that Harvey and Lakeview can do that and be.
How often do they meet? Is it once a week?
I'm not sure, I know it started this week, and I know that our new athletic director approached, Josh, did Kelly come to you, or to the principal, or to Mr. Walling, and wanted the service aspect of the athletic program to find something where they could really make a positive impact. So I think that's a great thing.
So I have a few things.
Good.
So over the weekend, we had a team of 20 students from Heritage compete in a math competition. And I believe that they did pretty well. I don't know exactly what the outcomes were, but it was nice to send such a large team to an academic competition. Most of those were 7th graders, so that's something.
And where was the competition?
It was local. I
Okay.
don't know exactly
Okay.
where. We had a tremendous Black History celebration at Elm. Was that last week or the week before? Really outstanding event. The highlight of it was the students did a Lyndon Wax Museum, and really just did a great job. But then our choir went over and performed, and there was also poetry reading. I know that Mrs. Link over there was really instrumental in putting that together with Ms. Alive. It was a great event. So Maple has their One School, One Book program going on, if I may borrow.
Absolutely.
So we are all reading the one and only Ivan. And so the entire school was participating in that, and Maple has done a really great job of building all kinds of activities around this campaign. If you haven't seen the cafeteria, it's set up like a circus tent. It's really outstanding. It's been set up like that for weeks now without it being pulled down or anything. And there's a lot of people who come through there. But they Skyped in with the Cleveland Zoo, and some of their personnel did a really nice kind of conversation with the kids and highlighted the primate area there. The kids are doing penny war to raise funds for a wildlife foundation. I believe now that there's a little stuffed Ivan that's making its way around to the different classrooms, and they're kind of chronicling its travels. And we have several staff members who have read sections of the book, and then those are accessible to the kids to read along, to read aloud at home. So just a lot of work has gone into it, and it's really turning out to be a great event. We also have our FBLA team heading down to Columbus this week for the state competition. So we're sending a large bus full of kids down there to do all kinds of great stuff.
And the play will be coming up before our next meeting.
Yes, it will.
23rd, 24th, and 25th. Shrek the Musical. It's going to be very fun and family friendly. Excellent as always.
And Steve, are you gonna tell us about the band spaghetti dinner? It's your job, isn't
Which
it?
Steve?
I don't know the date.
I believe it's the 28th.
It's the 28th. Band Booster Spaghetti Dinner is the 28th. How's that?
Are both
That'd be
Steves
great.
involved?
I'm just coming to eat. We're selling tickets like as good as we can. I was gonna say like Mad Men, but we're really just doing the best we can at the Webster's house.
It's an important event because those funds go to support the boosters, which in turn, support the students and everything from their trip to Disney, which is coming up with, making sure that more students can go, and it's a great time.
Dr. Engelhardt and I were the spaghetti twins.
Love it.
Mrs. Webster is very fond of it, so she's looking for high quality spaghetti.
Yes.
I got to attend I went to the Winter Athletics Awards the other night with Mr. Wallens and really enjoyed that. And Mr. Patty was looking out for me because they forgot that Jeff's gone, so. So he helped call me out. But it was great, and our young men and women who participated in Winter Athletics did a great job and had some terrific videos of our student athletes in action. And really great work being done by our athletic director and our coaches and our students. A lot of good stuff going on there.
We didn't meet, we met before the Martin Luther King program, didn't we? Our board meeting was before, wasn't
We had one
it?
before.
Oh, no,
We
that
had
was
one after.
January.
That was
I keep
January.
thinking, okay, forget it. I was just gonna say how awesome our choir did that.
Well, since our last board meeting, the choir did participate in the Lake County Music Education
Yes.
Association, whatever, Music Educators Association. And they did fantastic. They got a standing ovation on one song and the two strongest responses from the audience out of any of the choirs that were there, and there were 12 from the county, or 9 maybe, I don't remember exactly. They did a fantastic performance. I mean, it really was outstanding. I wanted to mention the letter that was drafted and, given to us to review and then sent to the community over the weekend regarding school safety and whatnot. I mean, I think you guys did a fantastic job of drafting that, putting it together and trying to encourage everyone to be a part of the solution. So thank you for that effort.
And it was done in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have a communications person yet, correct? So we don't have a newsletter coming out. Okay. Because the newsletter goes to everyone.
Right.
Okay. I was just wondering about that safety letter being in the newsletter, since that newsletter was not mailed to everyone or to anyone. It's on the website. And most people that don't have children in the school probably just don't look at the website. So it might not be a bad idea when we do send our newsletter out to put those safety procedures in it.
Yeah, I'll also
And
see Tawanda tomorrow morning. If you would like me to have her give you a call, and maybe she could have an article in the Herald. Do you think that's appropriate?
I think this is,
'Cause I
like
know
how you
she's
put this
very-
right on the website.
Right.
That
Right.
comes right up.
Mhm.
The first thing is a super good job.
Yep.
Who's managing the website since we don't have a communications person?
Well, it's a
By
team
committee.
effort.
Because it actually seems like stuff's getting
Yeah,
more
largely,
efficiently put in.
Marie Irish is doing a lot of heavy work. Between her and Mrs. Saracen are really helping us pull it together.
We'll think.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if we could get an intern from college to do that.
Yeah, I bet you could find a student who would
students.
love to do
Yeah.
that.
Someone's experience,
The Harvey students.
or a Harvey
We'll extra
student.
credit for
Yeah.
Mr. Caddy's class.
But speaking of, there are good things going on, I think it's completely impressive that our school district spelling bee won 4th place in the Lake County Spelling
that's
Bee in the
amazing.
first year.
And what grade is she in?
I don't know,
Fourth grade, it
but-
says. She's tiny.
She's in fifth.
Oh,
Fifth?
Is it
fifth?
fifth?
Did you see them hug one another before they won?
Super good kids. And I got some experience in spelling. And he did it, it took him like 3 times to get to be 3rd place. 3 times, so to knock out 4th on the first go was very
We used to videotape it in the studio, and I'll tell you, I was lucky if I got through the first 3 rounds. I mean, everybody'd laugh at me, because I'm a creative speller.
Creative stuff.
Creative speller, that's right. That's how I refer to mine.
We don't know if Reddington has one to
Okay, item 14, who would like to read the statement? Mr. Costello, did you say you'd be happy to?
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I did.
Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code, Section 121.22G1, the board adjourns to executive session for the purpose of considering the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, demotion, or compensation of an employee or official of the school district. I'd like to make that motion and we move to executive session.
I'll second. You have a second?